I am still a little bit of a researcher on climate disasters, system dynamics. I'm affiliated to Neil's team at UCL, Department of Science, Technology, Engineering, and Public Policy, as well as a few other teams. But most of my time, I'm a humanitarian worker. I'm in charge of research and innovation at a global team. We are active in 190 countries. And it's complicated to be here now with you. The complication arises from the fact that the aerospace and defense sector, in part because of its business model of creating weapons, is seen as toxic for those of us who are in the humanitarian development, civil society, NGO sector. Indeed, I am not here in my capacity as a humanitarian representing my organization because I couldn't do that. Because there are firewalls, there are barriers separating all that massive talent, expertise, know-how, financial muscle, technological breakthrough capability of the aerospace and defense sector, separating that from us. I have worked in 65 countries, and it is my job to go to places like those informal settlements in Nairobi and help people understand what can go wrong and what to do about it. Whether it's tomorrow's extreme rainfall or heat wave, or long-term trends that augment food insecurity, shelter demands, migration, all sorts of things. Shahid, if we could share the first slide. I have only 5 unconventional slides to share with you the prospects of how things look. Jano, could I invite you? Jano, could you please go to the other room? Sorry, I am not the only inhabitant of this space, and more things are happening. So, as this shows, trouble happens and disasters can collaborate better than we do. Right now, I am trying to support national teams that are dealing with the coexistence of coronavirus, climate, armed conflict, and a dissolving economy. Whether it's Afghanistan, where more people die because of droughts and floods than because of bullets and explosions, or the Republic of Vanuatu in the South Pacific, where recently there was a Category 5 tropical cyclone, and people couldn't follow standard procedure of evacuating to shelter because that would have augmented the risk of coronavirus, and they don't have enough, respirators and all the things that are needed. So if the real world threats are collaborating without intentionality, but they're collaborating better than we are, what can we do about it? What should we do about it? How can we bring our talents, our forces, our territorial presence together? If we move to the next slide, this is one of my favorite cartoons by Bob Mankoff. It is depicting what seems like a quotidian day for a couple sitting on a couch having a conversation, but the couch is on a river that is about to go off a cliff. And we know that both in climate systems, in technological systems, in geopolitical systems, change tends to be gradual until it is abrupt. We are now confronting a lot of possibilities for very turbulent change if it hasn't manifested already. And the caption pretty eloquently says, we've got to talk. Well, guess what? Most of what we have heard so far in terms of the needs of reorienting some of the phenomenal powers of aerospace and defense towards the global challenges that matter to us. If you click again, Shahid, just a minor list: health, food security, shelter, even human resources. How do we get talent? We in the humanitarian sector have a similar problem as aerospace and defense, that we need to make it more palatable for those kids with tattoos and weird earrings and strange musical tastes to want to join us, because they believe in different mindsets. They're completely open-minded. They don't like to do the kinds of things that are expected to do if they have all those security constraints that are present. And geopolitics, ways of working. How can we have a better conversation? What are we going to do about reorienting what we are capable of? For the next one, this one is by another dear colleague, Pat Burns. He's a cartoonist. He used to be a cruise missile designer, a weapons developer turned humorist. And his caption says, to important people, remember, we can only afford to do this pro bono because of how much anti-bono pays. Of course, in our sector, the aerospace and defense, especially the weapons development side, it is anti-bono. It is designed to do the opposite of what we do. We are trying to save lives. Those weapons are part of geopolitical systems, etc. But can we help all the talent within to imagine the way of configuring your ability to influence how money is spent? I don't approve the portrayal that my dear friend Nick Cook shared, that the A&D space waits for government to come and give them the money and then they develop the weapons. There must be some capability for lobbying. There must be some capability for influencing the senators, the people who control the check writing. How about influencing them to invite the sector to go massively in the direction that Charles and his partner Kate, I loved spending time with them at their home, at their event at MIT. They are eager, as many others in the sector, to do good. And we can mobilize the talent for global challenges in a way that is compatible with the current aspirations of so many of us. For the next one, the next slide, please. This is one of the things that we hear a lot. Important looking person on the phone says, no, Thursday won't work. How about never? Is never good for you? That's one of the discourses I keep hearing. Some of our aspirations are encountered with a language of civility, with a content of, well, the world doesn't care about what you care about. We're more interested in making money or cruise missiles than we are in, I don't know, finding unlimited energy or solving shelter problems. I refuse to accept that premise. I don't believe that everyone is saying, how about never? Because never is not good for too many of us. And we can change the way we converse. We can offer, we can demand, we can invite a re-examination of what happened to those taxpayers' monies and how we can influence the way we think about the future so that never is not in the horizon and so many beautiful ideas can become a reality. My final slide, which is, all options are on the table, says a big white man confronting a giant bomb of some sort. Well, how about putting more prominently on the table of the aerospace and defense sector global challenges? How about a much more proactive aspiration to engage all that massive capability under the water level that Nick showed, all the phenomenal capabilities that Neil Morizzetti has been commanding in his time as the military, to put those options on the table? How can we do good? And I am certain that these will have geopolitical consequences for those who invest. Whichever nation can help solve problems can become a big influencer, as well as on the market front. Maybe they will start investing their own money and developing tools that help address what we need to address. I am here in my personal capacity, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be conversing with you, and I hope this can be just the beginning of a long-term transformational conversation where civil society, humanitarians, and development workers can be part of the exuberant joy of brain power that you guys have. Just spending time with some of you really augmented my ability to imagine solutions, and some of that can overspill to the entire sectors. Hopefully we can become more of one while staying candid and true to our purposes. Thank you.